I think most of you all know who I am, Dave Turley, the mayor of Woodland Park. I'd like to, David Buttery will be joining me shortly. We've been in some meetings out in just 1 second. That's David Buttery. Yes, David. Okay. 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 Okay, we'll do. Okay, bye. Sorry about that. That was David. He's just left the sheriff's office. I'd like to talk a little bit. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about the team that's been working the fire. And, you know, yesterday I think everybody saw how that fire really boiled up with the winds, and especially when the thunderstorms started moving in the afternoon. In Woodland Park, we were very fortunate that those winds did not bring that fire over the hill, and I'll show some things on a map here in a second. And so we were very fortunate, but as you all saw on the news, Colorado Springs was not as fortunate, and a pretty nasty situation down there. And there's still a nasty situation going on. And, you know, they're in our thoughts and prayers, and most of us know people that live down there, and that's a bad situation. What happened there yesterday was unexpected. You make your best estimates of what's going to happen with the weather, but you're totally dependent upon what happens, and plans don't always go as you want. So those flames rushed down the canyon, moved into mountain shadows, and it was a pretty bad situation. This is the updated fire map. Of course, this is US 24. Woodland Park is still up. It's up here. This is, let me get my bearings here. This is Wellington Gulch, which is down by, right across, it's on just on this side of the gravel pit, down by Bust. And of course, you know, when we had the map yesterday morning, that fire had gone up Wellington Gulch and come up through here. So this black line that you see is in fact where the fire line was yesterday morning when we were talking about this. So you can see there's definitely, even though the winds were pushing down, this is that area that went down the canyon down there and got into mountain shadows. This whole thing occurred yesterday. But you can see from this black line that we've had continually to have some creep coming up the pass, coming up, you know, around Rampart Reservoir, and this area, this is Rampart Range Road. This area is pretty close to Woodland Park. That fire in one spot is a little less than 2 miles from residents in Woodland Park. So that's pretty close. But again, we were pretty comfortable with the way the fire was moving. But what happens is, and that's the way the winds are projected to go today. But what happens is with those thunderstorms, and we're going to get stronger thunderstorms today, when they mix with that fire plume that's going up and they come together, you really can't predict what's going to happen. So I think you can see probably where I'm going with this. David will speak to exactly where, but we're actually going to start evacuating some people from Woodland Park today. As a precaution. It's not biting our tails, but we want to make sure that we have time to get people out of Woodland Park and not put people at risk. I do want to go back. I started to say we are working so closely with the Taylor County Sheriff's Office, who is doing an absolutely exceptional job, in my opinion. So with Taylor County Sheriff's Office, the county staff, with Northeast Taylor County Fire, Chief Tyler Lambert, he's really working close with us. and he's a big part of the decision making, because he's going to be responsible for bringing in assets to if we get under threat to protect our homes. So we're working really closely with him. Of course, if things were to go bad and you needed it, the ambulance service and all of that. So I'll go ahead and again, David will be here in a couple of minutes, but we're going to actually start an evacuation of the area that was on pre-evacuation as of yesterday. And that's all being coordinated right now. The press release is going out, and the evacuation is going to start here very shortly. Probably with me saying it, probably immediately. We're going to we're working with all the right authorities. And it's not just this area here. There's actually, and I'll let David talk to the line, but there's an area all the way down 24 to Cristola that will be evacuated also, and going out to Idlo Road. But I'll let David speak to the exact locations. The rest of Woodland Park is going to be put on standby for evacuation. The county is going to put all of Taylor County that's on the east side of Colorado 67 on standby for evacuation. These are tough decisions. I mean, when I was elected mayor, my thoughts are bringing people to town, not telling our residents that they have to leave town. But when this starts, I recommend that everybody be very orderly. I mean, because the fire is not biting on our tails right now, we can do this in a very organized and smart way. If we waited until things that could blow into something big, then it could be a tough situation. So it is precautionary, but we, all of us in the leadership in this county and the city, felt that this is the right thing to do at this time. And of course, you guys as city staff, for the folks that are sitting here in the room, you're a key part of this. And you've all got tasks that you'll need to be doing, and we appreciate that. But coordinate with your supervisors. Number one, you're going to need to take care of your own self and your families. So that's kind of where we're at right now. David, come on up. I just explained to him that I explained to him about the fire situation, what went on, and that we are going to do an evacuation of part of town and some standby. But whatever you have to say in specifics.
Yeah, I'm David Buttery. I'm the city manager, and in concert with the Forest Service, Teller County Sheriff's Office, we are going to implement an evacuation for a portion of the city of Woodland Park. The fear is that we would have a weather run like we did yesterday afternoon that caused a lot of people on the west side of Colorado Springs to lose their homes, and we don't want to take that chance. So what I'm going to do is I'm waiting for the message to be sent. I've been authorized to share the information with you. I'm going to point to the map to show you the general area that will be under an evacuation order just within the next few minutes. And what I'll also tell you is that the remaining portion of Woodland Park is going to be on a standby. They have, am I too loud? Thank you. I tend to talk too loud as it is anyway. So let me just do a real quick description, and I'll do the map too. Are we doing this for the telecast or something? We are. The area that has been declared to be evacuated by the sheriff's office begins at the Cristola Bar. And what I want you to do is I want you to think of the east side of the Highway 24 for this first shape that I'm going to describe to you. So Cristola, up Highway 24 to the McDonald's intersection, Baldwin and Rampart Range Road, up Baldwin, up Rampart Range Road, all the way to the Teller County, El Paso County line at Loy Creek. So this block here that I'm doing with my hand and I physically described to you is now under an evacuation order. That's the first shape. The second shape begins again at Cristola, but this time includes the west side of Highway 24. I'm sorry. The west side of Highway 24. And so it comes up from Cristola, the west side of Highway 24, all the way to Aspen Garden Way, which is the Safeway signal light. From Aspen Garden Way, it moves across, and there are several short east-west running roads that move across this line. It includes Main and Saddle and Ranch. So it comes across Aspen Garden Way, through Sunny Slope, up here, down West Road until it hits Highway 24, goes west to Edlow Road, down Edlow Road. So it includes Ranch Estates and I don't have the email yet. Ranch Estates, those subdivisions down there. The third block, the third shape, is from Cristola going west to Catamount Estates and north of that. So there are three shapes that I've described. Very soon we'll have maps that we can distribute to the rest of the community, but geographically I've been able to describe those to you. And soon after that's released, the remaining portion of Woodland Park will be placed on standby all the way to the Teller County, Douglas County line east of 67. So all of Woodland Park up 67, and when you get to the county line, it's everything to the east of that. So that includes Ridgewood, Sunnywood, of course, but it's that area's standby, not an evacuation. Physically, the fear is that we're going to get some thunderstorms this afternoon. That's what's predicted. It was that thunderstorm activity that created those significant winds that pushed over the top of Rampart Range Road, pushed down into the valleys, and created that kind of Venturi effect that just caused the wind speeds to increase and to increase and to increase. A east to west wind in our area is not normal, nor is it predicted. However, to be safe, and because thunderstorms generate different winds in different directions, the safest thing to do for our citizenry is get folks out of town and put others on standby. The evacuation shelters are going to be in Cripple Creek, and I'm hoping this is the message, because when I left, it was either an elementary school or the high school, and I don't have it yet. To get these official announcements, it has to go through a couple of different channels, but the sheriff has authorized me to let folks know. So again, I'm going to just list some subdivisions that now are under mandatory evacuation. Mandatory evacuation doesn't mean that you have to panic. You'll recall that the events that happened yesterday that affected Colorado Springs were late in the afternoon, 4 o'clock or so, as it was moving into evening. We don't want that to happen here. My house will be evacuated. We're putting a lot of people under a tremendous amount of stress, but we're doing it so that we can keep people under a tremendous amount of safety as well. So here's the subdivisions: Sunny Glen, Morning Sun, the Kings Crown area, Paradise, Skyline, Forest Edge, Country Ridge, and anything that is east of U.S. Highway 24 all the way to the Lloyd Gulch up here. On the west side of the highway, the Walmart area, but we're going to ask Walmart, the hospital, and gas stations to stay open, because we don't believe there's imminent danger. We believe there's a need for people to perhaps get the logistics that they need, and they are already on standby.
And Safeway.
Correct, and Safeway as well. So Western Convenience is actually serving as the gas station for a lot of the Forest Service folks. Instead of having to run all the way to the Springs, they come up here. So it's key they stay open to help fuel our firefighters. On the west side of town, again, there really aren't subdivisions in the city that are affected. by that, but it's areas that we're all extremely familiar with. We need an orderly process. The Teller County Sheriffs and the City of Woodland Park will be using both its uniformed officers and volunteers from within the city, some of our field crews, as necessary to go door to door. They have a marking system to mark the doors for folks that are refusing to evacuate, for those who are already gone, and for those that are leaving. So the county and the city, they have a uniformed plan to do those markings so that it can be orderly. We're also going to be getting assistance from the Sheriff's Office and from State Patrol to help us with the evacuation routes. The good news is we're doing this in the middle of the day. The bad news is it's going to be congested because there's only two ways out of town. And I, after watching what happened in the Springs, I'm thankful we have two ways out. So we got 67 North and 24 West. Again, the Red Cross will be establishing evacuation centers in Cripple Creek. They've come to find out that only about 3% of an evacuation population ends up using the evacuation center because other people have friends and family that they're able to get to. The fire right now, I'm not sure how much Dave described, but it did expand some yesterday, so there's a bit of a double threat, if you will. This creeping, it's not moving fast, it's creeping, but it continues to creep, and it's crept for 3 or 4 days. And then I think what is more imminently dangerous is what's happening up here, and if we get those very strange wind patterns that would push it down Rampart Range, down that slope into town. Our fire department, Northeast Teller County Fire Protection District, they're getting their crews ready to go. They'll be positioning themselves to fight structure fires. Say a little prayer. They don't have to pull out a single hose. But what we want to do is make sure we get people out. Currently, for pets, there's still space at Teller County, the T-Craft facility there in Divide. Large animals need to go to the fairgrounds in Cripple Creek. Well, I think I saw the chief a minute ago. No, that's okay. I just want to see if he has anything to add. Until then, what questions can I attempt? Let me make one thing. Let me
add. And I think, where's Bill Allsbach? Is Bill here? I know I saw him. I just will give you a little update. Bill just told me he had talked with CDOT about US 24 going down to Colorado Springs. That is not going to open in the next few days. And I'll tell you why. There are firefighters on the highway. They are fighting small spot fires that cross the highway. And it is imperative, well, let's just say it's rarely important, to try to keep US 24 as a fire line. And there are emergency vehicles going up and down the pass, and I'll tell you, it is no place for the public to be right now. So it is for everyone's own good and all of our good that's remaining closed.
This morning, regretfully, I put out a Facebook post that said everything that we know right now indicates that Woodland Park is in a favorable position. I talked about humidity, I talked about wind, I talked about all those different aspects. I gave the community the best information I had at the time, and I wish I had not put that out because now there's a confusing message out there. But hear me loud and clear that the east side of Woodland Park is on a mandatory evacuation. The remaining portions of Woodland Park are on standby. Folks can voluntarily leave anytime they want to. If there are special needs, or you know of people that have special needs, the senior center is allowing the ambulance district to use their bus to get folks collected up. I'm not sure what happens to them after that. They only tell me so much.
Everyone, please silence your cell phones.
What I need employees of the City of Woodland Park to do, and everybody that's here, you are now our ambassadors. You have the most current information in this community. Do not cause people to panic. It won't help a thing. We're not in a panic mode. We're not at the bottom of Queens Canyon. We're not on Centennial. We're not on Vindicator. We're not at the Air Force Academy. We've got time to do this. What questions can I answer? Or do you have anything, Bob?
No, I've got something for our folks after just about logistical stuff on how we're going to start.
So I'm going to ask the city folks to stay here once we're done with this. Bill, but just one second, Gene. Go ahead.
Just an update from CDOT. Bill Alsbach, City of Woodland Park Public Works, just got off the phone with CDOT. Highway 24 will remain closed. There's some issues down there that we've been dealing with that I think everybody's familiar with, but the evacuation routes will be as they have been so far, 67 north and Highway 24 west. But 24 will remain closed.
Thank you. Okay, Lori.
Just a question for those of us that have to get home to be able to evacuate, the mandatory evacuation, what is the time frame that allows us, how much time do we have to get home to get out of our house?
It's a reasonable question. I think most people in the standby area, I hate it when it takes so long to answer a question. You should go home and get your stuff and leave.
We have time to get home.
Of course. Yes, we're not blocking access. We went from standby to mandatory. We're not rushing in there, sweeping through, saying, get out now, get out now, get out now. But you should go home, grab those last few things, and lock your doors and leave. And it would be helpful for the police department if you post somewhere near your door, not where necessarily the public could see, but where a police officer could see, that says, I'm gone, Lori Maxwell. And then they'll put a mark on it that says, she's gone. It just keeps them from having to knock on the door and wait. Just get that information up there, take that extra 15 seconds, and it will allow them to do their job much more quickly. Okay? Is that good advice, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Gene?
How far north should we evacuate to?
Yeah, I believe where I'm going to evacuate to is on the west side of Woodland Park, to a friend's house. Going north, well, this part of town is just going on standby. I don't know what the next phase will be. It will be so determined by weather. So I'm afraid I can just tell you to go as far away as you think you need to keep you and your family safe. Yes, ma'am.
I went up 67 last night after work and checked out the South Meadows Campground, which is north of the golf course, and it is practically empty. And because I have a camper, that's where I plan on going. But if anybody else has need to go, at least you can continue to go north on 67, but there's a lot of room there.
Okay. Let me back up and say what the other questions were. The first question was, can we get back to our homes now if we're in their evacuation area, and how much time do we have to get out? Go home, get your stuff, and leave. The second question was, how far north or should we evacuate to? And you heard my comments, so I don't need to repeat that. And then the third statement was that the South Meadows Campground has plenty of camping spaces available now. What other questions? Yes, sir.
I'm David Runthurls from Margas Propane. We have a lot of propane customers up in part of the evacuation area. Is there any protocol in place, anything helpful that we can do? What is that situation?
And this doesn't directly relate to you, but for the Black Hills customers, leave your gas on. They'll turn it off at the source. Go home, get ready to go, and leave. For propane tanks, for your systems, I don't have an answer for that. But I think if if you're on a propane tank, the fuel is there. You don't need to turn it off. You don't need to do anything with it, is what I would think. I'm not an expert in that, but that seems to make the most sense to me. Did that answer your question?
Well, I was wondering if there's any that imminent that maybe we have time to move them. During the Hayman fire, all lids were left open and the tanks shut off when they evacuate to allow the firefighters to know that there's no propane getting into the residence. So
I'm not.
Sheriff said yesterday.
Yeah.
Or the day before yesterday, he said that shut off your propane.
Okay, according to Teller County Sheriff's Office, if you have a propane tank, if that services your house, turn it off. I think the same thing would be true if you have a propane grill. You know, it's a small thing, but go ahead and turn it off because, you know, the heat, explosions, etc. What other questions?
I went over here.
Yes, sir.
What can we expect in the way of air support or firefighting apparatus up in this area?
I'll do my best to answer the question was what kind of firefighting support can we expect in this area? The logic would tell you that the predominant effort is going to be wherever the most danger is. Yesterday, during the course of the day, that most imminent danger area was up on Rampart Range Road in the vicinity of Rampart Reservoir. At about 4 o'clock, that changed drastically. Actually, about 3 o'clock, there were some fires up in Flatirons near Boulder, and they diverted a C-130 up there to protect some of those edges and to shape the fire. I would still argue with you that right now the most dangerous component of the fire is still down in Colorado Springs, and so that's where the abundance of resources are. We haven't seen the weather shift that we're preparing for. If things change, those assets will be shifted extremely quickly. What folks, it helps to understand is that right now this is all, for the most part, or it was until yesterday, on U.S. Forest Service property, and this is their fire. So when it got down into Colorado Springs, you saw Colorado Springs help attack. Right. One of our own Teller County Fire Protection District engines with 4 firefighters went down to assist. They saved 4 structures. That team of 4 people saved 4 structures. They're back home now. So if this thing creeps down into Teller County, our own firefighting assets will move in to help protect our community, augmented with all those other resources. It never gets here fast enough.
Right.
But that's what the plan would be. It never gets here fast enough in our eyes.
Right.
I mean, the smoke is, it's right outside my side door, but it's really 3 miles away. But it gets here as soon as it can.
And I'll just add, driving down from Divide and looking up, there was absolutely a C-130 doing a drop up in this area up here. So I saw that just as I was coming down.
The chief reminded me that our fire protection district has mutual aid agreements with many different fire stations in the area. And so we have been providing assistance to the east and to the south. And my suspicion is that should something get here, we would get assistance from others for those mutual aid departments. What other questions can I answer for you?
David, you might just mention that there will be the alert.
Why don't you just mention it?
The alerts will be going out, but there's also going to be the door-to-door notifications going on, so everybody can expect that.
Yeah, we'll get this out. Nixle, Facebook, this electronic sign, we'll get this out through you. You're now, as I said, ambassadors for carrying this forward. We're going to get some maps that we can get to people so they understand it completely. Most people understand their neighborhoods and their subdivisions. We will also be going door to door to make sure that people are gone. Yeah, Bob. Go ahead.
We go door to door to make sure that we catch everybody in case they didn't get the message, in case the phone lines were overloaded or whatever reason they might not have gotten it. The other reason we go to door is because some people will decide not to go. And we need to make sure that the firefighters and emergency people are aware that there's somebody who's in danger if the fire comes. I really appreciate it if you would all leave when we ask you to, but we need to know if anybody's staying, and we go door to door to find out. We also go door to door because despite our best efforts, there could be somebody who can't get out for some reason. And so we do it because we want to make sure everybody lives through this thing.
City Hall will stay open. We'll be staffed with essential personnel. Yes, Sally. It's gone. It's canceled. We're not gonna do that. There was nothing critical on the agenda. We were going to have a 7 o'clock meeting with the community. We will probably still have that, but we may do that. I may shift it to Summit and just join the sheriffs, just depending on how things shape up through the course of the afternoon. It's very important that we get out a consistent message, and even as much as they tell me, I still may not get everything exactly what they're saying. So we're going to use the same press release. We're going to use the same graphics. We're going to do everything so that there's a consistency in message. We've got lots of Teller County people who butt up against Woodland Park. We just need to make sure that everybody understands what's going on. Again, I encourage you to, yes.
I'm sorry.
No.
What is the best way for people to get access to the press release and stuff like that? Because I'm not sure it's going to be on the news channels from the spring so much.
No, I think it will. I think it's going to be there very quickly. But we're going to put it on our Facebook page. We're going to put it on our website. It's going to be on the Teller County website. We're going to shorten it up and put it on Nixle. We're going to shorten it up and put it on our electronic message signs. We'll do all those kinds of things. And sooner or later, it's going to come across my phone, too.
Dave has it.
Oh, that's right. What else can I answer for you? Stay calm. Stay orderly. Don't panic. We're not in a panic mode. But it's very important that you follow the guidelines that we provided to you. And is the mayor still talking? I was going to give him the last blurb. Yes, ma'am.
As employees, if we're evacuating in our own area, what are our responsibilities to report to work?
Well, I want you to get evacuated and get to where you're going to set up, and then I want you to come to work. And until this area is evacuated, we're going to maintain normal City Hall hours. At some point, I will say essential personnel only. I don't believe we're there. If City Hall were next door to Walmart, I might have a different story for you right now. So I need you to get yourself ready to go, get yourself gone, and then come back to work because we may need you for some other activity. Yeah, Matt?
Are programs like Parks and Rec and things like that canceled today?
Yes.
They are canceled.
Yeah, yesterday I said to someone I wanted to maintain a sense of normalcy. I think we're a step beyond that now. So we're gonna cancel. Cindy, yes. We're gonna. So council meeting gone, Park and Rec programs gone, and the reason why is not to instill a sense of fanaticism. It's to make sure that I've got the people where I need them to respond to the things that we need to do to make sure that our citizens are safe, primarily, our first responders are safe, and that homes are safe. Okay, last chance. Yes, sir.
Sir, to piggyback on what you just said, we have worked with Senior Coalition calling folks that have needs to get out, whether they're on oxygen or wheelchairs. What we found out is after making a few phone calls, they referenced us to some of their neighbors who are not on the Senior Coalition list. If you know of anyone who needs help getting out, please contact the police department so that we can get them help.
Okay, Tim, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, here's the deal. When I put this microphone down, I am not going to hang around for a bunch of sidebar conversations. So if you have a question of me, ask it now.
David.
Yes.
Again, my area is Sand Road.
Yes. Is Sand Road down here, or is it this one? Or is it
Ponds, south of Safeway?
South of Safeway. Here is Aspen Garden Way. Yeah, you are in the evacuation area, Bruce. Yeah, because if you think about the line going from Cristola all the way to Catamount Estates, and then it's up, and then it included this block. So yes, you are included in that. Yes, Cindy. Yes, please. Yeah, I want all city employees to stick around. So I'll need if you're here and you're not a city employee, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and get on home and do what you need to do. If you're not in the evacuation area, be smart. Get yourself ready to go. Mayor, do you have anything else you want to close out with?
Good, David.
Okay, thank you.